I moved into a small apartment complex last year. One of my neighbors, a man in his 40s, always seemed off. At first, he was overly friendly. He'd wave whenever I came home, ask too many questions about where I worked, what hours I kept. Then little things started happening. I'd come home to find my doormat moved, or my apartment door handle slightly turned, as if someone had tested it. One night, I was up late watching TV when I heard faint scratching at my front door. I froze, muted the TV. The scratching stopped. A few minutes later, I looked out the peephole. He was standing there, just staring at my door. He didn't knock. He didn't move. He just stood there, breathing heavily for what felt like forever, before finally walking back to his apartment. The next morning, I found an envelope taped to my door. Inside was a single photo, a picture of me, taken through my living room window. I reported it to management and the police, but there wasn't much they could do. He technically hadn't broken in. I moved out a month later. Last summer, I booked a cheap Airbnb while traveling alone. The place looked fine in photos, clean, simple, with good reviews. When I arrived, the host, a middle-aged man, greeted me in person. At first he was polite, but there was something unsettling about how he kept making long eye contact. The first night, I swore I heard footsteps outside my bedroom door around 3 a.m. I figured maybe it was just the house creaking. But when I woke up in the morning, the kitchen chair had been moved, facing my bedroom door. The second night, I noticed something even stranger. Above the bed, there was a smoke detector, but when I looked closely, there was no blinking light. I took a chair, stood up, and realized it wasn't a smoke detector. It was a small camera. My heart dropped. I packed my things immediately, but as I was heading out, the host suddenly appeared at the bottom of the stairs. He smiled and asked, "Leaving already?" I didn't answer. I just bolted past him and left. I reported him to Airbnb, but the listing disappeared 2 days later. I don't know how many people stayed there before me, or what happened to those videos. I worked at a small gas station off the highway during college. The night shift was usually dead quiet, truckers fueling up, the occasional tired family grabbing snacks. One night around 2 a.m., a man walked in. He didn't buy anything, just wandered the aisles, slowly, as if studying everything. When I greeted him, he didn't respond. He finally grabbed a single bottle of water and came to the counter. When he handed me cash, his hand lingered over mine a second too long. His nails were cracked, dirty. Then, instead of leaving, he stood near the window outside, just watching me. 10 minutes passed, then 20. He didn't move. The store was glass-walled, so no matter where I went, I could see him standing there, his face just barely visible in the shadows. Finally, I called my manager. As I was on the phone, the man walked back in. This time, he didn't buy anything. He leaned over the counter, grinned, and whispered, "Don't worry. I'll wait until you're done." Before I could respond, another customer pulled in, and the man slipped out into the darkness. He never bought gas. He just disappeared. I quit that job a week later. My manager told me a similar-looking guy had been spotted lurking around another station a town over. They never caught him.